Can a coach provide leadership in a league where the players, kind of are so important? And did you sense a leadership vacuum at the end of what you saw of the Cavaliers, especially the way it unraveled against the Celtics?
Well, to answer the first part, yes, I think a coach can provide leadership. I've done it in 2 spots so far, and it's kind of like my MO. I still got a lot of old school left in me, but a lot of new school as well. What I think, the guys, everybody in this room and everybody in the nation has, dissected the Cavs' mishaps in the playoffs and not giving Boston enough credit. They ran into a team that had experience, that won a championship, that understood what it took to win at that particular time. And that, sometimes you run into a hot team at that time, that could be your downfall. But the thing that I do love about this situation and love this team is the fact, just like the Chicago Bulls couldn't get past Detroit for a few years, Detroit couldn't get past Boston for a few years, you got to take your lump sometimes. And I think this team is right there, right now, at that position where they can get over the hump.
Rick Nolan from the Medina Gazette, the Elyria Chronicle Telegram. You've obviously had time to study this team's roster and make some assessments. What are you going to tell LeBron tomorrow on why he should stay here and why you're the right coach to coach him?
Well, I'll answer the right coach part first. Again, it just goes back to my experiences, my leadership quality, my communication with my players. Those 3 things. And obviously I've won, some championships, and I've been there as a coach. So I have a pretty good idea of what it takes to be successful on this level. That'd probably be the first thing to tell him. One of the other things to tell him is just that I think this is the right time. I think I'm the right coach, and I think this team has the ability right now to reach the championship, to get there and get a championship. The roster I haven't studied as much because I know it's free agent time going around right now, but Chris and Lance, they do a heck of a job of evaluating talent. My job is to coach and to lead, and that's what I'm going to do.
Coach Andy Baskin from News Channel 5. I'm just curious about the process and when you were in Arkansas and you got the call that this was going to happen and news that had been floating around for the last week, what was going through your mind about this job and then led you to the point of getting the job?
Well, Andy, I thought it, a couple of days ago that I was out of the running, and I knew they were doing a process of trying to go through some things. So, just like a lot of reports are false, at times, and I had thought that, Brian Shaw had got the job. When Lance called me a few days ago, I was waiting on him to tell me that, Coach, we really loved having you in. We had a great time, but we're going to give the job to Brian Shaw. So when he changed and said, we want to talk to you a little bit more, I got excited again. I went upstairs and talked to him. My wife was right there around, kind of listening to the conversation. And when I got off the phone, I felt good. I really did. I felt good. And I think the next day, Lance and Chris both called me and said, we want to offer you the job. And I was excited.
Byron, down to your left, Jason Lloyd from the Akron Beacon Journal. I don't think it's much of a secret that you've always admired the Lakers job, and it's a dream of yours to coach the Lakers. Why was this the right time to take this job instead of waiting maybe another year to see what happens in L.A.?
Well, again, you don't get an opportunity to coach a player like LeBron, and you don't get an opportunity to be put in a situation with an organization like this from top to bottom and a team that has been just that close over the last few years. I didn't feel there was a need to wait. I thought this was a golden opportunity. It was a great opportunity for me and my family. And again, getting to know Chris and Lance a little bit more. The more that I got a chance to talk to them and talk to Dan Gilbert, this felt like the right place for me. So I didn't feel it was a need at that particular time to wait. I wanted to try to jump on this opportunity because, again, I really feel we have a chance to win a championship right away.
Byron, to your right, Fred McLeod, Fox Sports Ohio. Kind of a two-pronged question. Having played with Magic, Kareem, and Coach Jason Kidd and Chris Paul, one, do you find that superstars want to be coached? And two, what have you learned about coaching the latter two that would apply in a LeBron James situation?
Well, I do think most superstars want to be coached. They want to be pushed to the limit. They want to know that you are going to coach them, And when we speak of the latter of Jason Kidd, my first year as a coach, coming to New Jersey, I came in with the Pat Riley kind of attitude. And I think at a time we kind of bumped heads, and I'll be the first to admit that, a lot of that was my fault as well. My next job in New Orleans, just like any coach, any good coach, I think, you're going to learn from your mistakes. And I thought I learned from those mistakes as far as being able to get along with players a little bit better and still be me. And I think I bring that experience of understanding what it takes to push a guy's button, to get him to play the right way and to get him to be productive on the basketball court, but also not to lose myself in the process, because that's just, I'm going to be who I am, on the basketball court with my players. I'm going to be honest. I'll be the first one to kick them in the butt, and I'll be the first one to grab them and give them a hug after they do the right thing. So, I've learned a lot in my two previous jobs, and I'm looking forward to this one.
Coach Scott Sargent, WFNY. You said you like to run, and at times in the past with the Cavaliers, they've run at times, for short periods of time. Do you think the pieces are in place right now to do that for an extended period of time?
Yes. It starts in training camp, though. Running is not something that you do every, some of the time. You gotta train your body to be a running basketball team. And if you go into training camp saying, we're going to be a running, team, but you're walking every day or you're jogging, through the plays and through your sets and things like that, then you're not going to be a running team. So it's just like anything else. It's repetition. It's something that we got to continue to pound in our heads as a basketball team, and that's something that I will do because I think it's something that we can do with the pieces that we have here.
Coach Darrell Ryder,
You've been watching
ESPN
breaking
Cleveland.
news on News Channel 5. Byron Scott named the 18th head
Obviously,
coach of
the
the Cleveland
LeBron
Cavaliers.
situation
We'll have
coming
much
up.
more coming up tonight on News Channel 5 at 6.
Your
I'm Bob on
confidence
5.
in
We now return
keeping
you to regular
LeBron
scheduled
here and
programming.
being able to coach him, how much did that weigh into your decision?
Well, like I said earlier, it weighs a lot. Obviously, you want LeBron here, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to coach LeBron, but I'm putting on my trust in Chris and Lance because I know they can get the job done. And like I said, once we have him here and we're ready to start training camp, then it's turned over to me. It's my job to lead this team and to coach this team, and I'm going to do that to the best of my ability.